Hey guys, I just wanted to stop tonight for a few minutes and talk to everyone about guilt and discouragement. So, if you ask my husband, this is something that I deal with on the regular. These are things that I am learning, and it's growing me and teaching me. And I just thought, if it's something that helps me, it's likely that it will help somebody else. So I just wanted to speak for a few minutes to you, just like we're having a regular conversation, because these things help me so much. So if you don't follow Emily Lay, go do that. She is such an encouragement. She just recently wrote a book called Grace, Not Perfection. And she did a live Facebook video today that I watched that just spoke to my soul. And I've been really thinking about it and dwelling on the things that she talked about because it was just so good. So I am like very much like an all or nothing person. And when I do something, I want to do it well. And so I find myself like a lot of you, you want to be the perfect husband or the perfect wife, and you want to be the perfect mom and the perfect dad, and you want to be, the perfect business owner, and you want to give yourself 100% to everything. And what she said today was so good. She said, even if we can do it all, we can't do it all well. And eventually, when you give 100% of yourself to 100 different things, you can only be spread so thin, and eventually you're going to find holes. And if you don't figure out a way to handle all of this, you're going to find yourself really discouraged. And 9 times out of 10, when people are discouraged, what do? You quit. So another quote that I heard that was so good said, when you're tired, learn to rest, not to quit. And so I kind of just wanted to talk to you. Like, I've been actually like writing things down today, things that have helped me, and things that I have learned and that I'm still learning, things that I still think on and pray over, that have helped me with this guilt issue. So when I talk about guilt, I'm saying, what I guess I should clarify. So being a business owner, okay, to me, I actually, and I tell Ben this regularly, that now that I'm a business owner and I work from home, I actually feel like I work way more now than I did when I had a full-time job. Because when you do work from home, like if you're anything like me, I don't ever really give myself permission to not be working. Like, I feel like if I'm sitting around, or, if I'm not working my business, I feel guilty. And then there was a time in my business where when I was working and I wasn't giving myself 100% to Callie or 100% to Ben, I felt guilty. And then there was a time when I felt like I was working so much that my house was kind of getting in shambles, and there was laundry all the time and cleaning that needed to be done. And so then I felt guilty about that. So I told you guys that I deal with this all the time. So I actually heard some of this at conference last year. They did a whole panel on dealing with mom guilt. But if you're not a mom on our team, if you're a male, or, if you're not married, or you just don't have any kids yet, this can apply to you too. It's not just for moms. I just deal with a lot of guilt in every aspect. If I'm not working my business, I feel guilty that I'm not working my business. And if I'm not, if I let Callie see me working, then I'm feeling guilty. So I've been through that. I'm working on that. Even on a daily basis, I'm working on that. And then a lot of times you get discouraged in your business, and some of it stems from this guilt. Like you don't feel like you can allow yourself to work, or you don't feel like you can allow yourself to stop working. And then you get discouraged, and it kind of just snowballs. So I wrote down a couple things that I just thought, these help me. These are things that I think on and pray over that are an encouragement to me, and they might help you too. So first of all, anytime that I start feeling guilty, anytime I start feeling discouraged, the very first thing that I stop and do, outside of praying, I mean, I'm a very religious person, and so I feel like that's like a given, okay? But after that, the very first thing that I stop and do when I start feeling these feelings of guilt or these feelings of discouragement, I stop and remember why I started my business. Like one thing that I do is I actually write down why I started my business. I've got like notebooks all around my house, scattered all over. And all throughout them, you'll see like random different notes that I've written, different things that are important to me. But they're my why. They're my reason that I started. My list always begins with Ben and Callie, always. But I stop and remember, like, why did I start this business? What was my purpose in starting this business? It was because I wanted more for my family. I wanted more than living paycheck to paycheck. I knew that there was something with this company that could give me the freedom that I wanted. So I stop and think about, what was my why? Why did I start this business? And I love, I posted it on our team page. Joel and Stephanie Dunn, well, I guess it was just Joel Dunn, wrote today about the difference between motivation and dedication. So motivation comes and goes, guys. That's why you see so many people join this business and quit, because they join and they're super motivated for a while and they go all in. But motivation is fleeting. Why do you think gyms are packed in January and empty by March? Because motivation comes and goes. You have to learn to teach yourself dedication to this business. Most of the time when people quit, it's because they have not taught themselves to be dedicated to it long term. Okay, that's actually like a character issue that you can develop in your life, is dedication. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I joined this business because I knew that I could change my life. I'm not going to let a season of guilt or a season of discouragement get in the way of that. I have tasted the freedom that this company has to offer, and I'm never going back. Even on my most difficult days, I'm never going back to the life that I used to live, because my worst days in this company do not even hold a candle to my best days at my previous job. Guys, like, I would have killed 2 years ago to be where I am today. And even if you haven't promoted to where you think that you should be, you know the potential that is in this business. Don't quit just shy of that. Remember your why, remember why you started, and know the difference between motivation and dedication. Okay, there's going to be days that you're like, I can't do this. And then there'll be days that you get up and you're like, let's do it, I got this. That's because it's motivation, it comes and goes. Learn to be consistent, learn to be dedicated even through those difficult times. I can 100% guarantee you that if you stay consistent and dedicated to your business, that you will get through those difficult times. I promise you, okay? Second thing is, remember that God has called you into this business and that He's called you to be abundantly successful. The Lord never calls you to do something so you will fail. And if you think that you are failing at this, that is a lie from Satan, is what it boils down to. It is a lie from Satan. And you do not need to fill your mind with that. Don't dwell on it. Don't think on it. Know this, that God's story never ends in ashes. And so if you feel like your business is crumbling, you are not as successful as you want to be, know that it is not the end. The Lord wants you in this business, or you would not be here. Don't buy into the lie that this is not for you. That thought, that promise, that He'll do exceedingly abundantly above all that I could ask or think, that has gotten me through so many difficult times in this business. Discouraging days, hard days, dwindling days. The Lord has called me into this business, and I know that He wants me to be successful at this. Don't believe any less. Like, if He's called you into this business, and He has, because here you are, He has called you to be successful. The third thing, don't compare your journey with anybody else's. So a lot of times you see people who join and like go ambassador overnight, and you're like, how the heck did they do that? Like, I've been sitting on this promotion for 11 months. Like, how do they go ambassador in like overnight and I'm still sitting here? When you start comparing your journey with other people's journeys, you will immediately get discouraged. Immediately. You cannot look at anybody else in this company unless it's to like get encouragement, which I actually find things like that encouraging, like seeing how people have, promoted quickly and things like that. But don't compare yourself to them. Like, I don't want you sitting around thinking like, oh, so-and-so joined last month and already went Ruby. This must not be for me. When you start thinking like about other people and how they're more successful than you, or they get more customers than you do, or anything like that, anytime you start comparing yourself to other people and judging your success on their success, that's when you really start to feel discouraged. So you cannot do that. Don't think for 1 minute that her success equals your failure, because it doesn't, okay? The Lord has a purpose and a path for you to walk that only you can walk. It's not meant for her. It's not meant for him. It's just for you. So instead of seeing other people enrolling, other people promoting, and you're like, I guess I just can't do this. No, that's them. You put your blinders on and you work your business. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Let them be a motivation to you. Let them be an encouragement to you. But don't measure your success on somebody else's success, okay? Measure your success based on the best version of you. What can you do? What can the Lord do through you? And that's how you need to measure your success. Don't get discouraged by looking at what other people have done in like a shorter amount of time and think that this business is not for you because of what they have accomplished, because it's not. This next one is a really big thing. Do not let your why become your excuse. So, why did I join? Mostly, like, at the top of my list of every time I write out the reason I joined, at the top of my list, Ben and Callie. Number one. Almost everybody joins this business for family. Like, you want to make your life better for your family, whether you're a man and you join and you want to make life better for your wife, or you're a woman and you join and you want to make life better for your husband, or you're a parent and you join and you want to make life better for your child. Most of the time, your why is a person. And what I see over and over, and I've dealt with this, what I have seen over and over again is that after a while, like, you jump in and you're super motivated and you just give your business everything that you have. If you don't promote as quickly as you think that you should, or like in slow times in your business, almost everybody then starts to use their why, the reason that they joined, they use their why as an excuse to stop working. And it's just that. it's an excuse. What it really is, most of the time, what it really is, and this is just, I'm just laying it all out there for you guys. Most of the time, what it actually boils down to is you're discouraged and frustrated in your business, whether it's because you're not promoting or you didn't maintain rank or people are quitting on you or whatever. What it really boils down to is you're frustrated with your business. And so instead of actually admitting that, we use our why as an excuse. Well, I'm working too hard and my kids aren't seeing me enough, so I just can't do this anymore. Or I have given this business 9 months of my life and I am not promoting, and I feel like my kids deserve more of me. So usually what happens is you let your why be your scapegoat. Like, you joined this business to make their life better. Don't use them as an excuse to get out of it. Because really 9 times out of 10, and again, I realize there's a small margin here, even people that I could be talking to right now, there's a small margin of people that this is not the case. But 9 times out of 10, when people use their why, kids, husband, wife, whatever, mom, grandma, whatever, as an excuse to stop working, it's just because you're not being honest with yourself that you're frustrated and discouraged with your business. So using your kid, your wife, your husband, whatever, is an easy excuse to stop working. Don't do that. You joined this business because you knew this company could change your life and the life of your why. So why in discouraging times would you let that reason, that why, that child, that husband, that wife, whatever, why would you let that be the reason that you quit the business? Don't fall into that trap. Don't let your why become your excuse to quit working. And now I kind of wanted to talk about like scheduling your time and using it wisely. So here is I want to talk about like the guilt aspect, like when you feel like you can't show your kids that you're working, or you don't want your spouse seeing you on your phone all the time. So I want to talk to you about scheduling your time. So here's what I think everybody should do to live guilt-free. Okay, you feel guilty because you're on your phone, you feel guilty because you're texting, whatever, because you're trying to grow your business. First of all, I want to say this. A lot of times people think like, I can't sit down and work the whole day on my business. And that's the biggest misconception, probably in network marketing as a whole, but in our company, that if you don't have a full day to sit down and work, that you can't work your business. And that's not true at all. When I joined, I was working over 50 hours a week full time. Plus, I was basically like a single parent. So I know what it's like to have a full plate and trying to run my business and trying to go diamond. I know, like I did it. So you need to learn to schedule your time. And here's the key. You need to learn to schedule your time and be unapologetic about it. Okay? You need to learn, what I like to call them are power hours. So I knew that I could have uninterrupted time to work before Callie woke up and after I put her in bed at night. So I knew that I could devote 100% of my time to my work during those hours. So if I got up at 5, I could work like without stopping from 5 to 6 or 6:30 before I ever had to start getting ready for work. So I did it. That's what I did. Like, did I want to sleep? Sure. But I wanted to be diamond more. So I scheduled that time solely for working. Then at night, I would put her in bed at 8:30. And I knew that I would have from that time until like 10 or 10:30 to do a power hours, and just devote 100% of my time to my work. And so I did that. I would also schedule time throughout my day. So again, I was working full time. So I knew that I would have to use like my lunch break. So instead of saying, well, I'm working today, I can't do my It Works business. I didn't do that. I cut out time in my day to still work my business. I knew that I was going to have a lunch break every day from like 12 to 1. So from 12 to 1 every day, do you know where you would find me? Usually sitting in my car eating lunch doing my It Works business, because that was my power hour. That was my time to get things done. So schedule your time. Be very intentional about it. You don't have to have 10 consecutive hours to sit down and work your business to be successful at this. You don't. I like to make sure that I have several blocks of time every single day that I have carved out specifically only for It Works, and don't feel guilty about it. You are building a business. You are an entrepreneur. You are literally building a paycheck for yourself and for your family. Don't feel guilty about spending time on your business. When you have it scheduled and you have it set, I can literally shut the guilt off. Like, no, this is my scheduled time to work. I have to put in the work. Okay. I even schedule time where I'm phone free. Okay. So a lot of times people say, I don't want my kids seeing me on my phone all the time and da 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 da. So I agree with that. Okay, I do feel like there are times in my day that Callie needs my absolute undivided attention. There are times in my day where she needs to see me device free. I will agree with you on that. I have certain times set aside every day that it's just me and her. Like, we're focused. I do the same thing with my husband. There are just times throughout the day that I feel like they need my undivided attention, and so I give that to them. At that time, I'm not even thinking about It Works. I'm not stressing about It Works. I put my phone down, and it's all about me and them. A lot of people do this for dinner time, and I think that's a great idea. A lot of people do this like during bath time, story time, bedtime, different things like that. You figure out what works for you and schedule it. Be off duty then. There are times that my phone will ring or text messages will go off and I don't get them right away. I promise you, those people will still be there when I get done spending an hour with Callie. So schedule your on hours and your off hours. That way you're guilt-free either way. I know that if I have set aside like, oh, I'm going to be working from 8:30 to 10:30 tonight, I know that I can spend 7:30 to 8:30 with Callie, like focused in, just me and her, having fun. She's got all of me. I know that I can do that because I'm going to get right back to work in an hour. I don't have to feel guilty about that. So know to be intentional with every single minute of your day, and I promise you that will help you. I will say this too. I feel like the longer I'm in this business, the more I hear this excuse, like you don't want your kids seeing you on your phone so much. So I've kind of grown a tough skin about this, guys. This might sound harsh, and I don't mean it to be harsh. I just feel like that's an excuse to not work your business is really what it boils down to. Here's my thoughts on that. So like I said, there are times in the day where I feel like it is necessary for your child and your spouse to see you completely device free and that they have your undivided attention. But here's the thing. It is not going to kill your husband. It is not going to kill your child to see you working on your phone. Okay? Think about this. You joined this business to make a solid full-time or more income. Okay? I make more than I made full-time. Okay? You joined this business for that purpose. Why would you ever feel guilty about letting your husband or your wife or your child see you working toward that goal? Don't. There's absolutely no reason for you to feel guilty about that. Here's the thing. If you were to work full-time for the rest of your life, okay, let's say your child is just born. For the next 18 years of your child's life until they move out of your house, you are going to be away from them for at least 8 hours a day working full time. You're going to be away from them for 8 hours a day. In my opinion, like, I would rather my child see me working for 4 or 5 hours a day because I'm with them. Like, I feel like people lose sight of that, right? Like, they don't want to spend all of their time with their child on their phone, but they're willing to leave them for 8 hours a day for 18 years of their life to work a regular job. I just want you to stop and think about that. Like, I realize I'm kind of coming across harsh because this is like a soapbox for me. But I'm a wife and a mother, and I have successfully grown my business, and there's not a day that goes by that my child does not see me working hard, because she's going to know one day that her mom worked her tail off to give her everything this life has to offer. She's going to know that her mother worked her tail off to be able to stay home full time so I can go on field trips with her, so I can pay for a private Christian school for her, so I can provide her with all of the clothing and the food that she ever wanted or could even imagine to have. I did that. Instead of shipping her off to daycare and going to work for 8 hours a day, I would so much rather work my tail off at home and let her see me working toward our dreams and our financial security and future. I would rather do that every day of her life. Like, get over that thought. Like, my child can't see me working, or all my husband ever does is see me texting. Okay, that's an excuse that you're using. That should not even cross your mind. Set aside blocks of time where you are undivided attention, you give it completely to them. But outside of that, stop feeling guilty for any time that you devote to your business. Don't feel guilty. Just don't. Because there's absolutely no reason for it. You are building a life that is going to provide you with financial security forever. Don't compromise that because you're afraid that your child is going to see you for 2 or 3 hours a day texting on your phone. Just shut that guilt off. There is no place for that. That is nothing but the devil feeding you lies. Okay, so think about it. If you want to go off to work for 8 hours a day, live paycheck to paycheck for 18 years of their lives until they leave your house, okay, fine, don't text in front of your kids. Okay. But why not let them see you working hard? Why not let them know their mom or their dad is fighting for them? There's nothing wrong with letting your child see you work. There is nothing wrong with it. And I want everybody who is watching this to know that give yourself permission. You can do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you working your business, and there's nothing wrong with them seeing you work your business. Again, there's that balance there. Give them 100% of you some of the time in your day. But know that, like, okay, so you're going to, go off for 8-10 hours a day because you want to work full time so you don't have to keep texting. Just understand the balance there. Okay, guys, that's what I'm getting at. The next thing is learn to ask for help. So many of us are married, whether you're a man or you're a woman watching this, many of us are married. I came to the place in my business a couple of months ago. I actually had like a breakdown because I was trying to do it all. I was trying to, do all the cleaning. I was trying to do all the cooking. I was trying to, be the best wife and the best mother that I could possibly be. I was trying to lead a team of people. I mean, like, I was trying to do it all. And I found myself not being able to do really anything well because I was spread too thin. So learn to ask for help when you need it. Learn to ask for help from your upline. Learn to ask for help from your enroller. Learn to ask for help from your spouse. If you're not married, learn to ask for help from family. Guys, this is a marathon, not a sprint, okay? You can do anything for a short period of time. You can be Superwoman or Superman for a short period of time, but you can't do it forever. And if you try, you're just going to get burnt out and discouraged, and you're going to end up quitting. So don't try to do that, okay? Instead, like, I got to the point where I ended up messaging our ambassador uplines, both Kara and Ingrid. And I was like, I need some help. I need some encouragement. I'm pretty discouraged right now. And you know what? They gave me some tough love. Like, I was like kind of turning to them for like a little bit of sympathy, I guess. Like, I wanted them to kind of like coddle me and tell me, oh, it's gonna be okay. And but I'm glad I went to them. Like, they gave me some tough love, and they gave me things that I needed to hear and things that I needed to work on. And man, it was so helpful that I asked for help and I got it. And then I went to my husband and I said, listen, I know that you love me and I know that you want me to be happy. And at the end of the day, this business makes me infinitely happier than I could have ever imagined when I was working full time. I want this and need this to work, but I'm going to need your help. Here's what you can help me with. And I literally gave him like a physical list of things that would help me if he did them. And he took them on. He did it gladly. He was happy to do it. To this day, he is still doing those things. And my life has been so significantly better since I asked for help. Help for my business, from my upline, and help at home from my husband. Learn to ask for help. And that kind of brings me to like, what do you do if your spouse isn't supportive? I am fortunately blessed with an extremely supportive husband. And what do you do if you don't have that? So usually, if you don't have a supportive husband, it's usually not because they're not supportive of you. It's usually because they're not supportive of the business, right? So here's my suggestion if you don't have a supportive husband or a supportive wife for the business. I want you to sit down, and this is straight from Pam Souter. This is advice from her, and I loved it. Sit down with your spouse or your significant other, whoever it is, or mom, or whoever you're asking for help from. Sit down with them and say, listen, I know that you don't really love this business, but I know that you love me. And I am going to do this. And I need you to support me in this. There's a few things that I need help with. This is what I need you to do because you love me. Will you please help me with this? So even if they're not supportive of the business, you need to prove to them that this business is worthwhile, even if it means asking for help from them. If they don't support the business, they likely support you. So really, like, sit down and level with them and say, listen, this is what I need from you. Just because you love me, please help me do this. And I promise you, if you start going to your upline for help, if you start going to your enroller for help, if you start going to your family for help at home, I promise you things will get better. And then finally, last thing, learn to give yourself grace. And this is where I struggle the most because, so we've talked about all these things like remember your why and schedule your time and all that. Guys, there will be days that you fail. There will be. There will be days when you're like, I've got this power hour set, you know, my kids are going to bed at 8:30 and I'm going to work from 8:30 to 10 o'clock until I go to bed. And there are going to be days that you fall asleep on the couch and you don't do it. Or there are going to be days that something comes up and maybe your husband gets sick or your wife gets sick or your kid gets sick and suddenly all your plans for the day completely change. You have to learn to give yourself grace. And you have to learn to sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. I'm the kind of person that, like, I want everything, I don't like change at all. And I want everything to be exactly the way that I have it set up. And if it doesn't go like that, like, I get thrown off, you know? And so one thing that you have to learn with this business is, first of all, no 2 days are the same. And second of all, there are going to be days that for whatever reason you just can't do it. Like, you have all these great lofty plans. Yesterday I was going to message 25 new people and I just didn't get to it. And so instead of getting frustrated and discouraged, like, I never have enough time in my day to get things done, instead I was like, you know what? I didn't get to it today. I'm going to schedule that for tomorrow. And instead of doing 25, I'm going to do 50 to make up for it, or whatever. Like, you can make this to where you're not beating yourself into the ground. Give yourself grace. A lot of times you're going to fail and not do things right. Instead of getting discouraged, instead of letting it ruin your day, give yourself grace. You're not perfect and you don't have to be. Just learn from it, move on, and do better tomorrow. And that's just something that, like, I really have to focus on, is just you learn to be the best version of yourself every single day. And if something happens that doesn't go as planned, you just roll with the punches, go with it, and do better the next day. So I hope that helps. These are just a lot of things that have kind of been swirling in my mind today, things that I've written down, things that I dwell on. Remember, even if you can do it all, you can't do it all well. So learn to manage your time. That's like the biggest thing. Learn to set power hours for yourself. Learn to set aside time that's just for you and your family. Learn to set aside time just for yourself. You are allowed to have me time. And then learn to, when you are setting aside time for your business, give yourself 100% to that. And I hope these ideas and these thoughts help you. It's just kind of what's been on my heart today. So anyway, I hope that helps with some guilt and discouragement in the business, and I hope it gives everybody a good idea on where to go from here.